very important thing is working capital. Okay, so most people when I come across and in fact many teachers and students that I meet, they always come across and they tell me, sir, working capital is something that probably is not it's something which should be positive, and the company should be if it is positive, that means company has adequate resources to meet the expenses. Suppose, let's say I come across a company which is having current liabilities of 10,000 crores, and the current assets is only 7,000 crores. What do you think? Do you think a company is having more current liabilities in comparison to current assets? Do you think you should go ahead and buy such companies which are having negative working capital? That means they are not even, because see, if they are not, they are having a negative working capital, it goes on to say that probably they are not able to meet their expenses. They are not able to even have operating expenses. So do you think that company is good? Do you think I should invest in such companies? So I see multiple answers on my screen, and most of 90% of the answer that I'm getting is it's no, no, no. So but let me tell you one thing, the fact of the matter is you should. Most people are saying no, and I know 90% audience, those who have never listened to me, they will say no. But let me tell you, the answer is yes. See, having a negative working capital can be good. There is a movie, I don't know how many of you have watched this movie or not, but there is a movie called as OPM. Do watch that movie when you get time. And yes, some of you are rightly pointing out, even sir, HDFC Life जो आप दिखा रहे थे, HDFC Life has a negative working capital, and it is negative working capital since last many years. So it is not just now, but since last many years, HDFC Life is having a negative working capital. Yes, there is a movie called as Other People Money, OPM. Do watch this movie, OPM, and this is something which is really really important. So once you identify a company which is having a good CROIC, company which is having a negative working capital and no debt or negligible debt, that means we call this combination as Sone Pe Suhaga in Hindi, which means this is not just a good company, it is an extraordinary company. Now, when do we have negative working capital? Let me tell you, Profit Idea is one company which has negative working capital. Do you think we don't have the resources to meet our expenses? The answer is completely no. We have all the resources to meet whatever expenses that we want to meet. And I'll tell you what is the reason behind this. The reason is, a company which is a good company, they have customers pay them in advance. So you get advances from customers, and when you get advances from the customers, what is the best part? You don't have to pay any interest to them. You don't have to actually ensure that in terms of you never have to return that capital back. So that capital always belongs to you. You don't have to pay any interest. And the most important point is, whatever that you earn on that capital, that also belongs to the company. So it's really important for us to know that a company which is a good company, a company which is actually having a negative working capital, can be a good company provided they don't have any debt. So if a company is not having debt, it can actually turn out to be a great company in future, provided that they are actually earning a very good CROIC. They're having negative working capital, and because they're having a negative working capital, they are in a category of extraordinary business, not an ordinary business. So it's whenever people come to learn to us, they pay us in advance. They actually pay us in advance. And most of them, it's like, what you need to understand, that we deliver a session after we have received the money. So we actually receive things in advance, and we are actually operating on negative working capital. So having current liabilities is not bad. Now, one very important question that I can see in the chat box, a relevant question: sir, airline businesses receive money in advance, but they are still not considered good companies. See, the point is absolutely right. The point is, as I mentioned, having a negative working capital can be good provided they don't have debt. So काफी सारे लोगों की मेरी रिक्वेस्ट आ रही है, मैं देख रहा हूं कि आप सर हिंदी में, प्लीज हिंदी में ही बोलिए. तो अगर किसी कंपनी के पास उधारी एक तरीके से नहीं है और तब वर्किंग कैपिटल नेगेटिव है, तो उस समय में वो कंपनी अच्छी है. And I understand, I will speak both the languages, because कई लोग जो कि एक तरीके से सिर्फ इंग्लिश समझते हैं, दे आर वेरी गुड, like they can only understand English. There are people those who understand Hindi, so I'll just try to use both the languages so that people are comfortable. Now आपको समझना क्या है, आपको ध्यान में क्या रखना है, that if a company is having a negative working capital, but at the same time if a company is actually having no debt, तो अगर कंपनी के पास नेगेटिव वर्किंग कैपिटल है और उधारी नहीं है तो ही कंपनी अच्छी है. सो लेट्स से अ क्वेश्चन व्हिच आई गॉट, एयरलाइन कंपनीज के अंदर तो हमेशा पैसे एडवांस में जाते हैं, लेकिन प्रॉब्लम क्या होती है कि उनके पास ऑलरेडी उतनी उधारी है कि वो सब डूब जाती हैं, या फिर कहीं ना कहीं उनके पास दिक्कत चल रही है. तो आपको उस तरीके की एक्सपोनेंशियल रिटर्न्स नहीं मिलते जो आपको दूसरे स्टॉक्स में मिल सकते हैं. And that is something which is very important. So like yes, so there is another query that you have, like even auto companies, they receive money in advance. That is why last year when there was no auto sale, all my students, they prepared a model on Hero MotoCorp. So on Hero Moto we bought the stock at 1500 rupees, and I was very confident that this stock will go up because it was not having debt. Now another query which I have from various people, that sir, there are companies that you have picked up which are having debt. Of course, like as I said, there are companies which we pick up with debt also, but there are various criteria that we analyze. So right now, like in the session that I have picked up for you, with the limited time, of course, like I'm going to talk about some companies which is like which is having like either no debt and negative working capital, and also in terms of like what we see as far as ROIC ratio is concerned. Now let me show you, like most of you have clearly watched my screen very well, and all of you said that HDFC Life, when I was showing you, it was having a negative working capital of 1465 crores. This working capital is negative for last 7 years, last 3 years, and last 5 years. That means 7 साल पहले कंपनी की नेगेटिव वर्किंग कैपिटल कम थी, 5 साल पहले थोड़ी सी बढ़ गई, 3 साल पहले और बढ़ गई, और अभी और बढ़ गई है. So when I say that the negative working capital is improving, do you think it's a good sign or a bad sign? The answer is it is an excellent sign, not a bad sign. It's a good sign. People those who are still answering me, sir, it's a bad sign, it is not looking good. You need to understand, see, it's a good sign. पहले कंपनी के पास एडवांसेस कम आते थे, फिर क्या हुआ, 3 साल के अंदर 5 साल में और बढ़ गए एडवांसेस, फिर उसके बाद 3 साल में एडवांसेस और बढ़ गए, एंड देन अभी एडवांसेस और बढ़ गए, तभी तो नेगेटिव वर्किंग कैपिटल बढ़ती जा रही है, व्हिच मींस द नेगेटिव वर्किंग कैपिटल बिफोर करंट लायबिलिटीज एंड करंट एसेट्स. सो द करंट लायबिलिटीज वर मोर देन करंट एसेट्स. तो जो 5 साल पहले था या 7 साल पहले था वो फिगर कम थी, अब बढ़ती जा रही है, व्हिच मींस मोर पीपल आर एक्चुअली विलिंग टू गिव द मनी टू द कंपनी इन एडवांस, and that is something which is very very important. That is something that you need to look at. That is something where you need to actually find the value, and that is exactly what I am talking about. So I hope like people are able to understand, they are able to have a very important understanding in terms of having a negative working capital can be an excellent sign, and this is something which is really really good.